All right. So this talk is about how to run a workshop or a Perl conference. All right, so hi, I'm Candybar. I'm Heath Bair. I am the chairman of the conferences committee for the Perl Foundation. I took over for Josh McAdams. So I was basically voted in this year. Yeah. So I ran YAPS Columbus at Ohio State University a few years ago, and I've been really involved in sponsorship, trying to get money, trying to work with companies. So, all right. So my job is to help you plan a workshop, plan a conference, get excited, come up with ideas, find venues. Right? So, big thing here. We can't help underwrite. We can help you plan a conference in a different country, like YAPS Europe. We can help, give you ideas. We can't underwrite it. We can't give you money. We can't collect your money. So basically, this is just North America. All right. No, my no is gone. All right. So it says no. No, you don't need me. All right. So you can run your own workshop. You don't need TPF to bootstrap. Okay? We're here to help you. But if you think you have a sponsor, a company, you want to run a workshop about Perl at work, and you can get a room and you get a bunch of guys together and you talk about Perl, you don't need us. You don't need the foundation. But we're here to help you. So we're here to help you with funding. We're here to help you with contracts. We're here to help you with insurance. So we cover insurance. So a lot of venues will say, listen, we need insurance on file. We can provide that. But, right, okay, so like I just said, we do carry the insurance. All right, we can help you look at your budget. So basically we said, listen, if you want us to help you, give us a budget. Show us you're not going to be in the red. Right? Show us that you know how to get some money, get some sponsorship. We'll help you. We'll help bootstrap you. We'll help you collect the money for your class if you're going to charge a fee. Right? So we're there to help. Okay, so where do you start? You build a team. You have an idea. You have a vision, and you're just awesome. Right? So you've got a bunch of guys. You go out. You drink coffee. You drink beer, whatever. You're talking about how great it would be to run a workshop. Right? There's your team. You say, you know what, we love Arduino stuff. We want to run a Perl Arduino workshop. Right, there's your vision, all right, and then you just go out, you do everything you can to be as awesome as you can. Right? Great place to start is your PM group. So hopefully y'all here are in a PM group, hopefully. If you're not, find one, right, or start one. Okay, so this is the big one that I always have, is that you came up with the idea, right? You took it to your friends. You're like, hey, let's do this workshop. Well, guess what? You're the boss. It was your idea. So you just basically, you have to step up and fess up to the fact that you're now in charge. So get over it, right? Okay. Envision your vision. Right, what do you want to do?
Take over the world.
Okay, fine. So you have an idea of what you want to do. You want to do a hardware workshop, right? So you see it. You get this picture in your mind. You know exactly what you want to do. How big do you want it? Do you only want 10 people? What happens if 50 people show up? Okay? Or you really want 100, but what happens if 10 show up? Right? So get an idea of how many people you want. How much will it cost? Is it going to be free or are you going to charge for it? And what do you want people to learn? Okay? And down here, do you really know what you're doing? Okay? All right, so, yeah, exactly. Think about that a few times. Okay, money. What else there is to say? You know, TPF will help bootstrap you, will help fund you if you need it. If you don't, fantastic. Okay, how are you going to charge? How are you going to collect? Are you going to use PayPal? Are people going to walk in with cash and hand you cash? Right? Do you need sponsorship? Do you need companies to say, you know what, I'll give you $1,000 to run this, just make sure that my name is someplace. And then how are you going to pay your bills? Those are the things that you need to think about. Now, this is the one thing that Dan always harps on. If TPF underwrites you, if we bootstrap you, we underwrite you, we help collect the money for your workshop or your conference or whatever, we hold the money. You guys don't get the money. All right, so we hold whatever money is made, and we could use that again if you want to run another workshop. You can use that money as what bootstraps you again, right? So we'll bootstrap you first. You make a bunch of money. We keep it. We give it back to you to do it again, or it gets used for other workshops.
You don't just pocket it?
Correct. All right. So you have a great location. Actually, let's say you have 2 great locations. Right? How do you know which one's better? Right? So cost versus service. Maybe one, yeah.
Do you have suggestions on finding a location? Because in my experience, that tends to be the hardest thing.
Absolutely. And I tell you what, let me blow through some of my slides and we'll hit that. But it's usually if you can bundle, like get a hotel. We promise to bring you 50 rooms. With those 50 rooms, we promise to spend $3,000 in food. So $3,000 in food, 50 rooms. How about you comp us a room so we can have our conference, right? So you start to bundle things together and you'll find that you get better deals. Based on right now. All right. Yeah.
I think it's probably some sense also to look at like what other communities in your area have done.
Yeah.
Like instead of like, oh, let's start with a food book. Just be like, where the Python people do their thing, where the Java people do their thing, you know.
Don't be afraid to ask for a discount either. They give you a price, that isn't the price. Ask for 20% off that or 25% off that. They'll give you a discount.
And also one more thing to realize is that TPF is a nonprofit organization, so we can actually file so that we don't pay the tax. Okay, so that will save you money as well.
If you're nonprofit registered.
Yes, and we try to, every state we go to with the YAPS, we make sure that we're registered in that state as a nonprofit. Okay, snacks and foods, right? Are you going to serve any food? Are you going to serve coffee and make your people happy? Now, what are you going to do with all the leftover food? You're going to have a lot of leftover food. What are you going to do with it? You're going to take it home? You're going to give it to the homeless? What are you going to do with it? All right. You also need to know when you have to turn in your final food count numbers, right? So you can say, hey, we're going to do this next Wednesday. And they're like, no, we needed to know a month ago how many people we have to feed. And can you bring food into locations? A lot of locations will not let you bring in food. They want you to use their food services. Okay, so random thoughts here. Plan a morning coffee break. Everybody loves coffee. Pearl people love coffee more than breakfast. So if you're going to spend money on something in the morning, you spend it on coffee, you don't spend it on breakfast. All right, plan for afternoon water and soda breaks. And people usually drink about 2 drinks in the afternoon. So that kind of gives you some rough food ideas. All right. Try to run your workshop or your conference to not make money. Try to run a break even. Right? We're not here to be rich. We're here to make Perl awesome. Okay? So you budget yourself to break even. Okay? Decide if you're going to have early bird or late fees. Or are you just going to go with a flat fee, or is it going to be free? But expect the unexpected. Venues like this have hidden fees. And you can go over it a million times, you don't know about it, but I tell you what, the conference is over, and all of a sudden now you get a $10,000 bill you didn't know about. So.
And fight the good fight.
Oh, sure.
If they give you a charge you don't know about, fight them. Because half the time they'll at least reduce it, if not get rid of it.
Yep.
As long as you're willing to fight. If you don't put up any fight, they'll just,
They'll be happy. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you recruit speakers? Well, what's your theme? What's your idea? Are you going to do Arduino stuff? Well, then you probably should call Blackwell, right? Or what is your idea? What's your concept? Okay, so reach out onto IRC. Say, you know what, guys, I'm trying to do this workshop or this conference. Anybody got any ideas on who I could talk to? All right. Open the registration. Announce it. Announce it. Announce it. Blog about it. Announce it. Talk about it. Announce it. Newspapers. Great. Hey, I did newspapers. It was fun. But yeah, so announce it. Every place you could find, announce it. All right. Don't panic because, all right, this was this year's YAPS registration. Okay, so Todd was going along here stressing. Stressing real bad. Okay, so we got to about 100 people at about middle of April. We had 100 registrations for YAPSE. It's a $100,000 conference. That's how much we have to spend to run YAPSE. And with 100 people here, you're not covering your costs. All right? So what you have to realize is that most people will register almost at the end, right? Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. So don't panic, they will come. Yeah.
Were some of those registrations corporate where they bought like dozens of tickets in one shot? Because some of those spikes look very unnatural.
Okay, so I know what this spike here is, all right? That spike there is, hey, you know, we've accepted all these talks, so let's make sure the speakers have a free ticket. So that's what this one here is. But there's plenty of others in here that are people like, oh my God, I got into YAPS, got to get there, right?
There's one more vertical spike.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to ask about this one here. So it jumped what? About 100? Maybe? Nah, 75? What's that? Yeah, that might have been the end of early or late fees. Maybe there were late fees right then. But this kind of gives you an idea. You know what? You just got to kind of roll with it sometimes. All right. Running a YAPC is awesome. It will probably be the hardest thing that you ever do in your entire life, all right? And it will almost kill you. But it is awesome. Okay? You need to plan for 400 to 500 people. And then I lost my bold again. All right, you will be spending $100,000. So you need to plan for the 80-20 rule, which is $80,000 in sponsorship and $20,000 in registration. This year, I think we had about $30,000 in registration. So I think the budget, I think he had about $110,000, $112,000 is what he brought in, and he's spending about $105,000. All right, you can run a YAPC, but it is hard. Okay, but there are a lot of us, JT, myself, Dan. I mean, yes, there are a lot of us that want to help you. A lot of us have been there. We've run conferences. We've run workshops. We know what to do. We know how to help. Okay. We need new people. We need fresh ideas. We need new cities. We need new locations. We need people that are going to be willing to step up and say, you know what, I want to do a YAPC. This is awesome, and I want to stand up there and be Todd. You know, I want to be the one that stands on stage and everybody claps for me because Perl is awesome. So we need you guys. I know it's kind of scary and I know it's kind of hard, but if you plan 5 years out, if you say, you know what, 2020, I'm going to bring it to Cambridge, or I'm going to bring it to your city, right? You can start doing that. You can start looking for open source clubs or student organizations or universities, or you can start looking for places where you can run a YAPC. All right? So to conclude, you can run a workshop, a conference, okay? It's very rewarding for you and the people that show up, but just remember, right? Okay, oh God, it is awesome. All right? So, I know he had a question. I think I kind of answered it. Looking for other questions. Yeah.
Well, define kind of the difference between what like a workshop or a conference would be like. So conferences, I kind of understand that. Like a workshop, is that more of like you go and hands-on, you're programming hackathon type thing?
No. So, yeah, what do you want to do? Do you want your conference to be a mini YAPC? Do you want to have a couple of speakers come in and talk about a couple of cool things? Do you want to run a hackathon? Right? So do you want to sit there and do coding all day and hack on some cool module that hasn't been touched in 10 years? Or do you want to run a small YAPC, a small conference? But you got to decide what you want to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think there's been some YAPCs in the same cities. Is that right?
Yeah, we've had Chicago twice.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh twice.
Three times.
Three times, sorry.
You try to avoid repeating in some way, or is it just...
Okay, so YAPC is to energize the area. So you want to travel around as much as you can because you want to go to places that maybe haven't touched Perl in forever or whatever. We want to prove to the communities that Perl is awesome. We're still here and it's still great and it's really fun and it's dirt cheap, right? So we want to go to new places. Lexington, Kentucky, Cleveland, Ohio, Dayton, Ohio. Let's go someplace we haven't gone to before. That's the concept behind YAPS. Fine. Well, we can go out there. I don't mind at all going out west. We've always tried to stay this side of the Mississippi, but I mean, we've tried to stay away from OSCON territory. So, but I mean, now why not? Why not go and compete?
Really
It's not
an issue anymore.
No, it's not.
As OSCON has really not been that Perl centric for a long time.
Yeah,
Also, we're on the same side of Mississippi, right?
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Same side as
You seem to lost screen.
Oh.
Yes. Well, that's, I didn't plug my power in. Yeah.
Not so much a question, but I'm on the board at Open Hatch, and we have a framework for doing a 1.5-day workshop focused on really like brand new people that I know we would love to port to other languages. It's available for like Ruby and Python now.
Okay.
And the impact that it had on the Boston Python meetup was that we went from about like 12 to 1,600 people on our mailing list to about 3,200 people on our mailing list for the Boston area.
Wow.
So just kind of like running the workshops, the people who came, like some of them got moved into the regular user group, but we were constantly saying, we're open to new people, we like new people, we're friendly here, we want new people. And so a lot of them had never gone through the workshop, but were like, yeah, I heard you guys were cool, we thought we would show up. And so now we have this big group, so we're trying to, like the Boston Python meetup is looking at when can we host the big PyCon. So
Awesome.
if you feel like, oh, there's not enough of us at your Perlmonger group, you can do smaller events to kind of build up your group first. And all that stuff is CC'd, and I'd love to help anyone who wanted to port it to Perl.
Cool. Anybody else have any questions? Running a workshop? Crazy people that run YAPC? Anything?
For reference, how many workshops have there been, and where have there been themes around them?
Well, you have Frozen Perl, Perl Oasis.
Frozen Perl been on hold right now?
Yeah, I think it is. PPW. Yeah. The
DC.
Baltimore, yeah, the DC Perl workshop. Yeah.
Oh, what's on the anti-patterns? What do you recommend not doing that you learned?
Okay, so I learned to always read the writers. Okay, so there are people in our Perl community that still carry a writer. You know what a writer is? So if you bring Britney Spears over to your house for a cool party, she's going to send you a writer and tell you that she wants green M&Ms and she wants whatever. Okay? There are people in our community that still carry writers. All right, and I kind of wish that they didn't because it seems a little too much. Like, yes, a little diva-ish. So yeah, I would say, you know what? The thing that's always bit me is you got to read your contracts, you got to know what you're doing. Be willing to cold call people. Be willing to try to go out, look for money, right? Reach out to everybody that you possibly can. You realize you're going to be shut down probably 80% of the time, right? So.
I think I read some Python conferences had some clash of speakers that were there. Has there been any problems with that are well known?
Like speakers that didn't like each other?
Yeah, and so they get into big hissy fit
Hatfield,
over it.
McCoy thing?
Randall's function?
Let's not talk about that, let's not blog about that, let's talk about those things that are good. There absolutely, there's always problems if you bring large groups of people.
Yeah.
We do our best to try and make sure these smaller issues, because they're not, a lot of times they're not that interesting, it's just people.
All right, so what other crazy, non-crazy, what other interesting, what other questions you got for me? I mean, you can always find me later, buy me a beer, ask me whatever you want. Yeah, go ahead.
For location selection, I've noticed a lot of the Perl conferences are in medium-sized cities. They're never in psycho huge metropolises. Is there a reason for that, or is it because the
It's usually
cost
cost.
of operating it are much cheaper?
Correct.
Chicago.
Yeah, that's a major metropolis. But something like Los Angeles or San Francisco, I know their OSCon is held in, I think, Portland or Oregon or something.
Yes.
That's kind of a big metropolis, but the YAPCs themselves, they're often held in these small cities around the U.S.
It's all about cost, you know? So we are trying really hard to keep YAPC at $100. Okay, and to do that, we have to plaster the back of t-shirts with sponsors because we're trying to keep it at $100. If we move it to a big city, you have to raise the registration costs, and you're going to lose people. Or you're going to have to find massive amounts of sponsorship to cover it. So, like I said, it's your location versus cost. It's how you determine your location. Yeah.
I was going to say, one of the things about location, and this might be pretty Boston-centric, is for larger cities, if you can get a school to not only allow you to have the event, but to be an in-kind sponsor, like where they charge you maybe just to clean and vacuum at the end, but give you all the rooms for free, but you might have to work with them and do it during their spring break or something like that.
But it requires an in. You have to have an in, and like for Columbus YAPS, we went to the open source club and they submitted our bid to the university, right? So because they did that, we got the student rates, we got all of these student pluses because they submitted it. So you have to know somebody.
The nonprofit or internal rate, not the cost plus rate used for for-profit events.
Correct.
And that's how you got the venues for free, right?
Yes, a lot of our rooms were free because the student organization submitted it for us. Yes.
Same with coffee.
How about here in Austin, was there a group that gave you a free in here at UT?
Okay, so the original bid here was through the Austin Perlmonger group, and that was, I don't know, truthfully, you'll have to talk to Todd or you'll have to talk to Will. I mean, Will and Todd were the ones that put the bid together. I bet you Will knew somebody or had it in here to get it to the university.
I was going to say another, if it's on topic, you can ask someone in the CS department to speak at your event, and then they might push the event up for you. So if you can find someone who has enough expertise that is relevant.
Yep.
then
And
they'll
the
check
one thing that I just forgot about, but the one most important thing is always allow your students to come for free. If you have kids that are in university that are close, you have young kids maybe in high school, give them a free pass. Find a way to cover the cost, but get them there, right?
If there's some universities like Madison have what's called an extension center or an outreach center. It's designed to bring in businesses and nonprofits to the university. Then you don't need the in. You can actually go to that organization if it exists.
Yeah.
Not all universities have that. But if you look, it'll either be called extension, university extension, or university outreach, usually, is what it's called. So.
Okay, well, I'm cutting into people's snack break. Do you guys got any other questions for me? No? All right, well, find me if you want to know anything else. All right, thanks.